Look, guys, you should all believe me. It is common sense. Common sense, okay? If you don't agree with me, you have no common sense. What do you think, Grogu? Huh, guys? Common sense, huh?
Well, yes, Hedgehog, it's common sense. That's just common sense. Everybody knows that.
Hey everybody, Justin Barber, the Mindful Barbarian here. Back down at Greeno Park, Rattlesnake Creek, Missoula, Montana. Today I'm thinking about common sense. Now I think most people would expect a video on common sense to be talking about ways you can find common sense, ways you could be more sensible. I could talk about that. But you know what I think is more important? Is to take a look at the problems of common sense, the problems of the concept of common sense. I think common sense is bullshit. I think it does more harm than good. I think the idea that within your group you can say, well, this is common sense and expect other people to just agree with you is problematic. I don't think that leads to figuring out the truth about anything. And that's really the goal. I think that's what the goal should be. If you start to look and take the big picture approach to anything and say, well, what are we doing? We're trying to figure out if things are right or wrong, if things are good, bad, whatever. Did X happen? What is happening? You know, apply it to anything. That's what we're trying to figure out. So how do we figure that out? You don't do it by just asserting that X is common sense. You don't just say, well, it's common sense. For instance, say you support some politician and they have some idea and you say, well, that's just common sense. Everybody would agree with that because the implication with that is that everyone should agree because it's sensible.
I'm telling you, madam, it's common sense.
Oh, I'm sure it is common sense, but I don't know.
Oh, yes, it's common sense. Trust me. Believe me.
That's just an assertion, and it's not useful to say, well, it's common sense. No, that's not common sense, like, especially an opinion. Like, almost always when people say it, if they're not saying it about kind of some daily life thing, like, you know, if you want to live, don't kill yourself. I mean, you know, don't drink battery acid. That's common sense. That's not what I'm talking about. I think, yeah, sometimes it gets used like that, but that's not what I mean. I'm saying in the fabric of dialogue and thinking that we've got, an exchange of ideas, throwing out something that you think is common sense muddies the waters.
Okay, look, Chewie. Trust me. Everyone knows this. It is common sense. You must believe me. I am right.
It attempts to give what you're asserting some kind of value. Actually, it's trying to give it the value that it's right, that it's correct. And that's not good. If you want to make an assertion about something, you should back it up with evidence, back it up with whatever, if there are studies, whatever it is, you know, and or through dialogue, come to some kind of conclusion, some kind of agreement on things. It is faulty to assert that your opinions are sensible and imply that other people's opinions are not. I don't think we should strive to have common sense. How can you do that anyway? Here's what you should strive for. Strive to be a critical thinker. Strive to be objective. Strive to analyze yourself and other people. Look for motivations. Figure out why they're doing what they're doing. Don't just jump on some bandwagon. Don't be a copycat who's a lazy thinker who says, hey, so-and-so tells me X, Y, or Z. Well, that just makes sense. Don't really think about it too closely and then jump on it. Exchange ideas with other people. That's what you should do. That's what I try to do. And in an exchange of ideas, you have to be pretty equally willing to be honest, I think. And I'm seeing that a lot of times these days. That's not happening. You know, it is and it isn't. I don't want this channel to be about politics, even though I've made fun of Trump in some of my earlier videos. And I think he's on the way out the door, and I don't want to make these videos about that, you know. What I do want to see, what I wish, but I don't think it's going to happen, I wish we could have meaningful dialogue about issues. And I just don't see it happening. And one of the problems is this idea about common sense. It's a minor part of it, but people don't think critically. And they just make assertions all the time. They make claims. If you don't know what it means to make an assertion, you're like kind of a jerk to, you know, try to pretend that you don't or act like you don't. But I mean, anybody making a claim about something, making a positive claim. If you say the election was stolen, well, you better have good reason to believe that then.
No, you see, Arthur, Who needs evidence when you have common sense? That's right.
Find your evidence. If you want to say, you know, there's a God, well, okay, believe whatever you want, but why do you believe that? Based on what? You know, what is the evidence that convinced you? Maybe it'll convince me, maybe it won't. You know, like for instance, people disagree about all kinds of things. If you want to try to have some sort of agreement, well, you got to find some middle ground, right? The idea, if you approach it with common sense, with the idea that you are right and they are wrong, or maybe wrong, you're not going to get anywhere. You know, you're not going to work together. At this point, I'm pretty ready to quit attempting to talk to the people who also don't want to have dialogue. And it's not because I think they lack common sense. It's because I think they're not going to think critically. I think common sense is maybe a smaller part of the bigger problem. The bigger problem is that people don't think for themselves. They don't think critically. And certainty is really the issue. You know, if you're super certain that you're right and you just know it, you're not going to look for the truth. And you might be wrong. Like we should all always think, well, goddamn, I might be wrong, because you might. And being super certain about things is the quickest way to just be wrong. And as soon as you're certain about something, you quit looking for it. And I think any kind of language that helps you think that way is bad for you. And like I say, I strive to be a critical thinker. That's that, you know, I want to know true things. And I want to be on the side that is right. You know, like I don't want to just jump on some team. I don't want to adopt a cultist mindset on anything. And sometimes I am wrong about stuff. And I'm often right. But I'm often not. And we all need to be open to the idea that we could just be wrong.
I mean, I'm usually right. Ain't I?
And as soon as you think, oh, well, no, that's just sensible, I just believe this. No, abandon that. Abandon that way of thinking. Try to think better. Hold yourself to a higher standard. You know? So common sense is bullshit. If I'm wrong, hey, prove me wrong. Throw it in the comments. Tell me common sense is not there. You know, whatever. Tell me it's a good thing. It's a great thing. We should all have common sense, which we should. But you see what I mean? Jump into it. You know what's funny? I'm going to make a video on tips to have more common sense. I am. Even though I said common sense is bullshit, I still am going to make a video about it. Keep on the lookout for it. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe. People don't, please do it. Like, subscribe, whatever. Tell your friends. Go fight with your friends about how there's no such thing as common sense. That would be a good one. I like it. Anyway, get out there and seize the day. Hopefully you find some place as pretty as this. Have a good one.